how to decline in English. Now, there are things you want to do, there are things you don't want to do. Basically, what I can do is teach you principles. Principles of writing a letter or a note or a postcard or a card are the same as the principles of texting. Now, why do I say texting? What does that have to do with texting, you're going to tell me? Well, there is a link. And the link is, I've had a great coach in the past, and that's what he taught me, texting. But it's the same thing. It's a technique of messaging whilst you're not actually directly with the person. The person can't see you, they can't see your eyes, they can't hear your voice, but you're still communicating something to them. And you want them to have a good image of you, a good impact. Now, one of the mistakes we probably all done in the past is giving explanations, too many explanations, justifying, and that's not good. You want to give reasons, but you don't want to give too many reasons. I'll tell you why, Because is very important. The word because is extremely powerful. You do want to use it. Remember, probably just only once. Remember, the shorter your message, the better. The less emotional investment you put inside your message, the better. If your message is too long, it's like a debt. I'll tell you a story. Look, in the past, and it's probably happened to most of you, you've probably had friends who told you, oh, look, I'm in a situation right now, I need to pay the rent, my son is coming for the summer, I have no money, I have lots and lots of problems, please give me some money. Now, this was your friend, and you thought, well, why not give him some money? And he insisted and insisted and insisted, and obviously that is, or probably still, a very, very good friend. Some of you might not have given the money, which is in some ways seen as a good thing, and some of you might have given the money. If some of these friends might have given back the money, but some of them might have not. So what happens is when you give this money, you have a debt because you've given. So then suddenly the person feels they can ask more, and it's very difficult to stop that motion, to stop that movement, to stop that energy. They ask you more and more and more, and it becomes very difficult to stop this. So once you've given so much, you feel like you've got a debt. That's the feeling inside of you. That's like a debt. It's an emotional debt. Basically, when you write texts, or when you write messages, or when you write emails or letters, it's the same principle. Writing too much means too much emotional investment. Now, you want to keep it quite short, quite coherent, remain polite. One word to use, and extremely powerful, it is extremely powerful, is the word please. Is one of the 7 most powerful words in marketing and in communication. The word please is very, very, very useful. Also, you don't want to ignore the message, because in England, well, people, for them it's important that you answer. So if you don't answer, they'll think it's rude, and you want to avoid these situations. So you do want to answer. The next thing I want to tell you is you want to use positive terminology. Very important. I'll tell you. Look, there are situations when we say, don't take it personally if I don't come. Don't worry, I'll see you next time. Well, don't take it personally. What are you saying there? Don't, well, not to. Take it personally. You're actually saying, take it personally. You realize? I'll tell you how it works. Because basically, the conscious mind works a certain way. Basically, the unconscious mind can't hear don't negatives. When you say something negative, it takes time for your mind to understand it, or your unconscious mind to understand it. What it actually hears, it hears take it personally, and then it hears not, don't, afterwards. You see? So you want to avoid this. It's like, say, don't forget that I'm your friend. You don't want to say don't forget, because that means forget, not. You know, forget is actually ask the person to forget that you're their friend and then not to. It's complicated. It's a double message. So you might want to use another kind of terminology and say, remember that I'm your friend. It's the same thing. So the next thing I want to say is you want to use paragraphs. Why do you want to use paragraphs? Well, if you make it easy to read, space equals silences. Space equals tension, but space equals also relief. You have paragraphs, you make the person breathe. Space are silences that can create tension, but they can also make people breathe. If you send a big congested message, it's very emotional, people might take it, it might make them feel stressed. So paragraphs, very good. Shows you're organized, shows you're diplomatic, people will like it. Sometimes maybe at the end say that you look forward, remember that expression, I look forward to meeting you soon, or I look forward to meeting you again in the future. Yeah. Some people might say, let's go out for drinks. Well, that's kind of casual. Obviously, you might want to say this, but you see, there's one thing. Very often, people in England will say certain things. It doesn't mean they are going to do it. People will say one thing. Sometimes they will say they want to, or they wish to do something with you, or they might just use formulas. If you're not used to this, people might say, let's go out for drinks in a letter. Doesn't mean you have to say the same, because you can understand this as something they say. It's just a gesture. It's something polite or friendly they say. They might mean it. I'm not saying they don't mean it. They might mean it. But you see? Now, the next thing I can tell you is you want to use embedded commands. What are embedded commands? Basically, you want to say, use imperatives. For example, give orders. So imperatives, do, let's meet, find, imperative. So the tense is the imperative. So you like giving an order to somebody. But you can be more subtle than this. You can use embedded commands. So basically the use of other words before the order. So instead of saying, for example, that's an example out of the blue. So sit down can be an order. It can be aggressive. People might feel a resistance, but you can say, you can sit down. You can sit down. You just nicely bring in the order. You embed it. You make it. You organize it. And people will often react very nicely to this without resistance. Now, that's a principle you want to use in your messages. So using all these principles, now you know how to decline in English. Please subscribe to our channel and see you next time.